Hey everyone, I'm Meghna Mantha, the co-founder of Teen Chapter. At Teen Chapter, we feature teen startups, youth-led organizations, and teen entrepreneurs. And today on the conversation, we have Gauri Nimbalkar, the founder of Association for YWB, and Palakh Khanna, the founder of Break the Ice organization. Hi Gauri and hi Palakh. How are you doing?
We are doing well. Thank you for asking.
Hi Meghna and hi Palak. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well too.
Yes, I'm doing great. So without any further ado, let's get into the conversation and everything. So, Gauri, would you like to talk a bit about your organization? How did you start? How did you get the idea and all?
Yeah, sure. I think the whole concept of the Association for Youth Wellbeing, also known as YWB, I think the whole concept just emerged when the pandemic started. And so I just saw that a lot of my friends who were really, really active and always were like, happy and playful were like the same people who never spoke out in online class, or like they started talking. When I asked them what's up, they just told me that they're not feeling really good, and then I thought something was fishy for sure. And mental health is not something uh, that has been discussed in very frequently where I am from. I'm from Bangalore, by the way. And also the fact that it's not just your mental health, it's also like your physical health, it's also like the environment that you're living in, and all of these different intersections that lead to your well-being. So at that point of time, I think when I started YWB, I was just 14 years old, and I did not know what I knew mental health. I had heard of it, but I really didn't know what it was. I knew it had to do something with your brain or something like that. But then I started to read more articles and do my research, and then I found out, okay, there's something called mental health, and then I found out there's something called well-being, and then I found out about the seven different aspects of well-being. Slowly, I also figured out that after working with the United Nations, I came to a conclusion that, okay, so change is intersectional. So you want to work in any sector or even just to advance well being, you need to advance every other sector that connects well being to it. Because when there's no equality in other sectors, there's no equality in well being. So the whole aim of Association for Youth Wellbeing is just to associate with fellow organizations and fellow youth, especially underrepresented minorities from India, and to just advance well-being and tell them the different intersections of well-being, tell them the importance of it, and also do all of this youth-led, because it has to be youth-centered when you're doing it for youth. And I think that you both would definitely relate to that because both of you run youth organizations. So that is what YWB is about. And yeah, so in short, we're just an international organization working with members of government, UN entities, also young people, global youth, academicians, and entrepreneurs, such as the both of you.
That's such a good description about your organization. That reminds me of this thing. When I was in high school, I didn't know what mental health was. But when this pandemic started and online education, it was on the rise. That is when I understood about mental health and the kinds of problems people face, and it's completely normal to talk about your mental health and everything, right? um, Going forward to Palak, hi Palak, do you want to talk a bit about your organization Break the Ice, because what you're doing is also pretty interesting.
Okay, thank you. So, Break the Ice, if I put it in two words, is an international youth organization working towards discussing all things taboo and helping in creating an enlightened global youth community. That is our basic aim. And we believe that once we provide that safe space where everyone can talk about anything that they want, maybe anonymously if they wish to, they will be able to indulge in open dialogue and discussion, and ultimately, we will grow as a society, and that is the aim of our organization. And we recently became a UN SDSN youth member organization, which, the moment Gauri mentioned United Nations, I remember that, and that is definitely an achievement. And we work with organizations, we cater to the youth from 13 to 20. The age range is very big because team members are from across 5 countries and from age ranges from 13 to 25. So we thought that if we expand that age bracket, then we'll be able to cater to more people. So it is youth based, but we are always open to people who want to be enlightened ultimately.
Right. First of all, congratulations for your major achievement of becoming the member. And yeah, so Gauri, I have a question for you. So you have mentioned about UN, and I also saw your profile. It is such an amazing profile. You're a girl leader at UN. You're 15 years old, and you're connected with all government officials, or politicians, and everybody, like higher officials. And I would like to know, how did you achieve so many things at such a young age, and how? And a follow-up question to that is your journey to the UN.
Okay, so I think just to like address the question where you said like at such a young age I'm like engaged with government officials and UN. To be very honest with you, I think I never saw me. Well, I knew I would do anything to like create a huge impact because I wanted to bring about that change and I really wanted to do that. But I didn't know it would happen this soon. And also, I think to answer your main question, how like just my journey. When I started with YWB, I was 14 and it was 2020. And now it's 2022. So I think it's almost like been 1 year. We recently celebrated our first birthday. And then I just started it with my classmates. Like I started it alone, and then I just told everyone I'm doing this. I'm starting an initiative, a nonprofit. If someone wants to help, then just hit me up, and I'd love to have you on board. And then I had a few of my classmates. They all were so excited because the whole idea of a nonprofit for them was just they didn't know what a nonprofit was. And then I had to tell them what it was, and they were super excited and very supportive. And then we started with our very first event. It was like for over 400 schools in Bangalore. It was our launch event where we had the Bangalore Sahodaya School Complex sent all of their schools, and the whole session was just a free webinar for students to learn about suicide prevention and how to deal with depression and stress, especially during the COVID-19 virus pandemic. So that's how it started. And then going forward, we continued the advocacy work. And then I became a part of the Generation Equality Forum, which was a forum hosted by the by UN Women. And gradually, I started getting more engaged with UN Women, and they started inviting me to their regional dialogues, where I also spoke as an adolescent panelist. And then I really didn't know where it would go. But then one day, I just opened my inbox, and then I see you are invited to speak with the Ministry of Youth Affairs, and I'm like, is this a spam mail? So that was my initial reaction. And even now, like anyone sends me an invite, that's still my reaction. Because I'm still like getting used. Sometimes it really gets really overwhelming. But I think it's important to embrace where you're going. And I've also like been given hate by many people. So I think it's also important to take that up as constructive criticism, even if you think it's hate. And then you go forward and just embrace it. And after that, I think with UN Women, I gradually started working with them, and now I'm with them. I'm a girl leader for UN Women, which means I engage in their trainings that they have for girl leaders. And we also have like CSW coming up next. So CSW is this huge forum that's hosted by UN Women every year. So CSW 66 is this year, and it's a huge deal. So yeah, currently working on that. We're having like regional consultations and everything. So that's what's happening. But this is my journey so far. And yeah, I hope that answered your follow-up question too.
Yeah, it definitely did. It's an inspiring journey, but uh, the main thing that always strikes me is young people. A lot of people don't have such opportunities at a global level, but you being a teenager, from India and working with the UN, it's such an inspiring journey. And you are an inspiration to
Yeah.
a lot of people for sure. And yeah,
Yeah, I think I just want to like add on to that. As you said, that's really, really true because I've seen that a lot of the other developed countries have United Nations delegate programs for high school students or for people who are under the age of 18 or just like for youth in general. But India does not have any such program, and we don't have applications or direct ticket to where you can, just apply and get in. And most of the time, people who want to make an impact want to work with the UN because they know that working with the UN and its entities will help them, like expand their network and make a bigger impact. And making a bigger impact will in turn affect the society positively. So it's always coming from a good place. But I think this is something that definitely we're working on, which is why like we also have the Adults and Girl Advisory Board. And that's going to be the first in India where young girls actually have an opportunity to apply. And it's going to be for like 18, 19 years till age. So everyone can apply. So this is the first time that it's happening. Otherwise, there is no way where there's like a delegate program that we can apply or anything. It's always just like through influence. They see your work and then they call you. So yeah, that's not fair, actually speaking, because maybe someone's doing more better work than I am, but their work isn't getting recognized because of this person who hasn't seen them. So like, yeah, definitely. There is a need for those kind of structured programs to come in place.
definitely. I do hope more opportunities and such programs at global level, not only UN, but other global organizations, they recognize the youth potential here as well and provide opportunities to youth here. So Palak, I have an interesting question for you. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So whenever I open the app, I first see that Palak Khanna posted something. Palak Khanna wrote something. So would you like to talk about, your journey to how, like every day you post something or the other, right? Like you're very active on LinkedIn. So can you tell a bit about what kind of content do you write on LinkedIn and how and what is your like idea behind it of writing every day and reaching out to people? And I also see you interacting with a lot of entrepreneurs and industry professionals and all, and you post all of that on LinkedIn saying it was an honor to talk with them and all. So would you like to talk about a bit about that?
Okay, so basically, the idea is to network because networking is something which is a skill that everyone should learn. And optimizing LinkedIn is something I learned in this program that I got selected in. It was called the Cohort Collective Program. That's also on my LinkedIn actually. So we learned on that program how to optimize your LinkedIn account, how to become a better person overall. Because once you network, it will definitely grow your network, but ultimately it is utilizing that network and growing as a person. So that is the idea behind posting every day. And yeah, so the program inspired me. And I talk to entrepreneurs and everyone, not only to encourage them, but also through my content. So my content revolves around everything related to motivation, mental health. Again, through Break the Ice, I'm trying to bring awareness about these topics. And through my LinkedIn, I'm trying to create a network which is encouraging these topics so that both of them are aligned and both of them help society in some way possible. So that's the idea. And yes, very interesting question.
Okay, because I have a lot to learn from you, definitely. I mean, the way you're scaling your organization and the way you interact with a lot of people in your domain and people outside your domain, there's definitely so much to learn from you. Um, and yeah, so recently, we've all attended the youth summit, which was organized by Gauri. It was such an amazing summit. We have met so many cool people, interesting, insightful. We had insightful discussions there. So Gauri, how did you get the idea of starting this summit, calling people? And not, you didn't call like expected people, when I saw all those posters, like mayor is coming, New Zealand mayor is coming, and a politician is coming, a UN official is coming, I was like, really, a 15-year-old is calling all these people for the summit? So would you like to talk a bit about how you call these people, a bit about your the summit journey from the start to end?
Yeah, sure. I think this is like a very nice question because I've never said it out loud, but it's like I always think of whenever I think of the summit, I think of its journey from the beginning. Because we, even though we had the summit in December, we've been thinking about it like ever since January of not January, ever since 2020, ever since YWB was formed, because the whole idea of YWB was to promote all the aspects of well-being. And one of the things that one of and we had like planned out activities for each aspect, or like at least some of the main aspects that we found were helpful. And one of it was social well-being. And we thought a great way to advance social well-being would be to have a summit. And obviously, at that time, YWB was small. It was a very small organization. And today we've grown tremendously. But that's only through the connections we've made and the interactions that we've made. So, very grateful for that. But initially, we just were a small organization when we started. And I remember thinking to myself, how crazy would it be if we would like actually have diplomats and like global health professionals and members of parliaments in this summit? And I didn't even know exactly what I was thinking, but I knew that it would be like a closed, exclusive event where we would have young people primarily as the drivers of the process. And this was in 2020. And gradually, we decided to have it at the end of 2021 so that we'd have time to like shortlist who we're going to invite, because we just didn't want to randomly send out cold emails. So we actually made a list of who we're going to invite, and only selected people were invited. And so we made the list, and every month we would invite a few people. So that's how it happened. And in the end of the Generation Equality Forum, we were actually approved as official commitment makers to the GEF. So let me explain that a little bit. So, a commitment maker to the Generation Equality Forum that was held by UN Women is someone who is an organization or some kind of institution or a group who are willing to make a specific commitment, and when it is approved by UN Women, you're supposed to complete the commitment and like submit the report to them on how the commitment went. So we also made a few commitments, and it was approved officially. And so we saw that as an opportunity to also include our summit in that. So it was a part of the summit was a part of our commitment to the GIF. Um, and from then on, we also had like uh, extra support from UN Women and all our colleagues from other organizations and networks like Plan International. And so they all also definitely helped us spread the word. And then yeah, and then we just had the summit. And the funny thing is that when you said like the mayor of New Zealand and all of that, so we definitely were looking for like cultural and generational diversity, because we wanted different generations of people. And so we also wanted them to be from different continents. And Mayor Paula Southgate is someone who I really, really admire. I love the way she is, just her personality, the person she is, such a strong leader. And so the last time I interacted with her, I realized that, I read about her and I was like, okay, she should be on this summit. And so that's what happened. And then also we had Daniel Delva. Um, so that's more, all of them were like people who we knew, that we had connections with, and we wish other youth leaders knew them. And so that's why we brought them to the summit. So that's how it went.
I'm so fortunate to be part of the summit. I actually got to know about the summit through Palakh. She told to me, and it's been a great. I mean, thanks to you, Palak, for telling me about the summit. It's so good to be part of such a great youth summit and interacting with youth entrepreneurs and change makers. So, I have a common question for both of you. So, what do you think about the opportunities that are provided to youth nowadays in India, and how can it be improved? And how can we make sure that the opportunities reach to people who are from not only tier 1 cities but also tier 2 and tier 3 cities? So what do you think the government or the youth nowadays can do to make sure that the opportunities, either in whatever industry it could be tech industry or the social industry, so how can we work towards providing such opportunities and make sure that they reach out to people who are from different corners of the world?
So I believe that the opportunities are definitely limited if we talk about India. But you have to work for it. So yeah, I can give the example of Gauri itself. She's quite young that ways, and I'll give her example because she's very inspirational. So you have to work to get that opportunity and make the most out of it basically. But the opportunities are definitely limited, and but I also believe that we are progressing as a community and as a society because there are so many entrepreneurship programs through the government itself which are growing and which are emerging. And I do believe that they'll be something very big in the coming future, and it'll inspire a lot of young change makers and young entrepreneurs. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Palak. And also that the opportunities are really, really limited, let alone for adults. Like, I mean, let alone for youth, like even adults I've seen are struggling in today's time to like get that perfect opportunity. So definitely we are progressing, as she said. Um, and yeah, I think it's important to make the most of what you have and what institutions and government bodies can do to work on that is definitely I think they should come up with an accountability framework um, to keep intact the existing um, programs that they have, because I feel like there are so many programs that so many people are confused what they should go for, and most of them aren't even functioning properly, and most of them don't even have a proper website or like a place where they can reach out, like a helpline. There's nothing of that sort, so there's nothing to keep them accountable. So the government's just saying we're doing this, but there's no accountability. So there's this gap between the people and between citizens and the government that we need that interaction, we need that communication. And I think to fill that communication gap, it's also important, as I was saying before, to have youth engagement, especially for young people, as you mentioned. We need to have like youth bodies, I recently heard from someone from Bhutan who was saying that they have a youth parliament, but the drawback is that everything that the youth does is nothing for the youth. It's just youth opinions for decisions that's being made for the adults. So we could also maybe, if we are forming a youth body, then take suggestions and take note of the experiences that people have gone through and other youth bodies and other nations. So constituting a body is really important because we don't have anything like a parliament made of only young people. We have a Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, but that does not contain young people in it. So they're making decisions for young people without young people. And that's also YWB's motto. It's nothing about youth without youth. So it has to be like, if it's our decisions, we need to have a say at what we're going to do. And it's, again, we cannot be tokenized in that process. This happened during the Generation Equality Forum. Young people were invited and then they were not given a chance to speak even after they went to the forum because there was a lack of time and they were not prioritized. So we don't want that to happen, right? Even when they constitute a body, it's important to have an accountability framework that will hold them accountable if anything goes wrong.
Wonderful suggestions by both of you. And uh, I do think it is important for every person in the country, or even if you take like a smaller place, like a college or a university, where people together can work towards forming such youth bodies and making sure that they bridge the communication gap between the global organizations and to the student body in the college. You know, when you start small, that ultimately gives big results or immense results. So yeah, that is my take on this. And I have The next thing I wanted to ask you is, what kind of impact are you ultimately creating through your organization? Uh, Anyone can go first.
Okay, so I think I'll go first. In terms of quantity, we have reached more than 16,000 people through our organization and the platform that we provide. And we've expanded our team to 35 plus change makers from across 5 countries. In terms of qualitative, we have seen people in our community, in the small community that we formed in 90 days of forming the organization, a better communication, which is the basic aim, communication, understanding that taboos should not exist. There is nothing called a taboo because all the topics which are considered taboo are essential and important. So that understanding has grown, and it's a pleasure to see that, because you see that, okay, the organization is turning towards a success and a positive change in society. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think, by the way, Palak, that's just amazing. And as you said, like taboo should not be a thing because everything that's a taboo is something that's naturally meant to be normalized. So yeah, great work. And I think, speaking of YWB, our impact has mainly been to show India's regional diversity at a global level. Especially I've seen, and even now when I go to any of our UN Women meetings, I'm either one of the two brown girls, or just the only person representing India who is a young person. And so I think that regional diversity is something that YWB has really, really represented. So next time, it's usually like when you go to UN Women meetings, someone says YWB, they know that it's an Indian youth-led organization, because that's how we represent ourselves. I think that impact has been really, really strong for us at the global level, because you don't see that kind of representation at all in just your everyday entity meetings or something like that. And besides that, just speaking of the work that we've done, I think our impact has mainly been educating young people and children. Until now, I think we've impacted about 10,000 young people within India and all the other nations. It could be directly, indirectly, but it's mainly through our sessions that we have, and also through our advocacy groups that we've been having an association with other organizations, other youth-led organizations. So yeah, that's basically the impact we've had. But I would say more than just the education sessions, our impact has mainly been to represent Indian communities and Indian youth in these forums, because we're really, really pushing forward to having these opportunities and having youth bodies in India, because it is there in the ECA region, it's there in Eastern Central Asia, it's there in Europe, it's there everywhere, almost everywhere, but it's not there in India. And I feel like Indians make up most of the world's population after China, obviously. But I feel like we really deserve to have that youth representation. So definitely that impact.
You guys have amazing numbers. When you guys were telling about the number of people you have impacted, that I could understand the amount of work you guys are doing. But I do believe that beyond numbers, you have a story to tell, and you have the when people they tell about their stories and everything, you have something to impact for. And definitely education is something, because education is the first and foremost thing on any issue. People need to be educated. It's really great. And my final question, we're definitely running out of time, but my final question is, how do you guys manage your school or college work along with running a successful organization?
Okay, I'll go first. So I think, for me, it's just mainly taking time for yourself when you just know when you start to feel like you're going to feel burned out, then just stop and take a break and do something for yourself. And it doesn't have to be like you're going to take a break from your organization and study, or you're going to take a break from your studying and then do your organization's work. You just need to take a break from everything and maybe just watch Netflix or YouTube if you want. That's also okay. But just take a break. Taking a break is really, really important. And after you take a break, I promise you, you will be able to work like 10 times more productively. So for me personally, that is what has worked. And also, this might sound like a really cliched statement, but making a schedule helps, but also you'll have to follow the schedule. If you're a procrastinator, sometimes then it might not work. um, but also for me, I don't make a schedule because for me the timings might not match based on what I've expected. So I just make a to-do list where I just note down the things that I'm supposed to do for the day, and I'll do it when I feel like doing it. I might just all cram it up together, but I'll finish it by the end of the day. So that's how I make sure to complete my work, and then I will relax. So yeah, it's like hustle hard and then relax.
Honestly, I have a similar practice. I always make to-do lists, and they are very, practical to-do lists for the day, so that I don't just put everything that I have, deadlines and assignments approaching. I put everything that I know I can finish in a day, because that gives me a kind of motivation that I did all the work that I, thought of doing. And I don't keep schedules. I don't keep time for, have to put 1 hour every day for my organization. No, it's just simply whenever I want to, whenever I feel like I need to give time, I just give time. And I do have a lot of simultaneous things going. Like, there are too many things which I am into, but I'm just able to manage it, thankfully.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think one more last thing that I just want to put in there is that if you're into some kind of hobby that will really let you relax, then just do it. Because for me, it's singing, and I actually sometimes pity my neighbors because I just start singing really loudly, and then I'm just wondering, can my neighbors hear me? But yeah, they probably can, but they don't really say anything. So I just sing when I'm stressed. So you can maybe find your thing and do that.
as usual, there's so much to learn from both of you. Even if I question myself of how I manage both, well, I do not, because being like the first year student at university, you have so much work on your head. We have to do research papers and everything. So it is definitely very hard to manage now. But as Palak said, even I don't put 1 or 2 hours a day just for my organization. It's just whenever I feel like doing. There are times when I did not want to do my college work, but I wanted to focus on my organization for the entire day. And there are times when I didn't want to like focus, but focus on my college work instead. So definitely taking breaks is very important. Third case, there are also times when I took breaks, did not do anything. So yeah, it we have come to the end of the conversation, and I totally enjoyed and loved talking to both of you. I know it had been a tiny conversation, but it had been very insightful. I've learned so much from you, very inspiring journeys, and I wish good luck for your future endeavors, and good luck to your organization.
Thank you, Meghna. You're a wonderful host and great work on this podcast. I love being on this panel with Palak, especially. She's such a sweet person. So this is an honor. Thank you.
Likewise, thank you so much. I feel like all of us are such like-minded people, and you can see that in our
Yes,
work also,
I know,
and in
right?
our conversations. I'm just so thankful. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for being here.